Nearly 80% of Americans said they don't think the next generation will live better lives. Young people are afraid they'll be stuck in low-paying jobs forever, barely earning enough to survive, let alone retire.
Let me tell you something. If you're a young person right now and you're watching this, most likely you have no house. But don't worry about it, man, because in this video we'll see that the biggest wealth transfer is actually happening right now.
After decades of recessions and struggle, most people just aren't hopeful for the future of the economy. In a 2023 survey conducted by the Wall Street Journal, nearly 80% of Americans said they don't think the next generation will live better lives. Young people are afraid they'll be stuck in low-paying jobs forever, barely earning enough to survive, let alone retire. Recently though, the idea of a great wealth transfer has been seen by some as a light at the end of the tunnel. Over the next 20 years, the silent generation and the baby boomers will pass away, leaving an estimated $84.4 trillion in savings and assets behind.
Listen, first of all, whenever I hear someone is trying to come to you and they're trying to give you some hope, saying that don't worry about it, now you're broke, but don't worry, something's going to happen to the world to the point that it'll change your life. The older generation, they're going to basically start dying off and they're living off all these assets, and eventually you'll be able to get a hold of this and live a better life. You'll be able to afford a better home. Whenever I hear people say stuff like that, giving you hope on the outside, immediately, this is my advice for you, man, immediately disregard it, because it doesn't matter. Anybody that comes and gives you advice about something that's going to happen on the outside, don't worry about it, because once you start truly putting your trust on this thing that's going to be happening on the outside, then you've basically lost. From that point on, you've lost, because this trust, keep it inside. Keep it only to God, only to the Creator. Once you start giving this trust to something on the outside, you'll never be able to actually gain whatever you want.
It's a whole lot of money, and hopefully it's enough to tip the scales back towards a more equal playing field. But will this actually happen, and how much of the money will the average person see?
Doesn't matter how much of the money it is, man. The amount of money that you want to make in your life, it's always been in your hand. Do you want to make 1 million? Do you want to make 10 million? Do you want to make 0? Do you want to make 1,000? It doesn't matter. It's all in your hand. If someone comes and tells you I'll be able to pay you this much, it doesn't matter. It's just all in your hand. And that's the type of belief you should be having. So whenever I see videos like these, I'm like, if I read the comments right now, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be like, oh, wow, I'm looking forward now for the future because of that. Why are you looking forward for the future now because of that? You should always be looking forward for the future just because you are alive. Put this trust to yourself, man. Start trusting yourself more. Trust your future self.
Of course, when you mention a wealth transfer, it's hard not to think about the pandemic. For a lot of people, it was like the 2008 recession happened all over again. When it first hit, millions lost their jobs in industries like hospitality.
And by the way, this whole pandemic thing that happened too, even that when it happened, first of all, alhamdulillah, I wasn't even worried because Allah taught me all these lessons before. I'm not that old, by the way, Habib, I'm not that old. But even when the pandemic happened, I'm like, I see people losing their jobs, and I'm just like, yeah, you lost your job, but your wealth, your rizq is not dependent on the job. Your rizq is not dependent on some wealth transfer that's going to happen. There should always be a wealth transfer in your life. There should always be an opportunity that's going to come to you in your life. And that's what I usually preach. I'm like, stop putting trust on things on the outside. If coronavirus came and then destroyed your job, why are you so worried? Yeah, whatever, it destroyed your job. Now you have no income and you have bills to pay. That's okay. Once you only put your trust to the Creator, like truly put it on the Creator, you'll notice like Allah's truly going to give you rizq, sustenance from a place where you don't even expect. And sometimes when I say stuff like this, it pisses people off because they're like, you don't know me, you don't know my story. Habib, it doesn't matter. Every human, no human is special. Every human has the same exact story. Every human has the same exact struggles. So it's okay just because, oh, there's something that's going to happen on the outside. Oh man, I'm excited now. Or, oh, I'm so scared now. Don't be excited and don't be scared. Don't have both feelings.
Same year, over 60 million claims for unemployment insurance were filed in the US. That's hundreds of thousands more than the average. Then there was the damage to the overall economy caused by so many businesses going into hibernation. A few different figures got tossed around for the total cost, but a widely cited Harvard paper put it at around $16 trillion once you add it all together. It's a debt we'll be paying for years, and we're already seeing the effects. It's the justification for the massive inflation and price rises we've seen so far. But of course, this isn't the full story. A lot of that hardship has been caused by corporate profiteering off of the crisis. While the average American got poorer, the richest Americans made an absolute killing. The 10 richest men in the US doubled their money over the course of the pandemic, giving them 6 times more wealth than the poorest 3 billion people in the entire world.
Doesn't matter, man. You know, back in the pandemic when it was happening, I'm like, okay, pandemic is happening. What's one thing I can do to create value to the people, and then as a result, I can get money back? And don't look at my YouTube channel and be like, oh, but you have a YouTube channel, you can just immediately make money just like that because of your YouTube channel. No, Habibi, no. No, if you actually go through the teachings I show you, go through my old videos, you'll see I've actually given out a lot of the teachings that you can use, skills that can help you become self-employed, just dependent on no job, dependent only on your own capabilities. So when the pandemic happened, I'm like, hey, what should I do? People are going to be stuck in their house more. Okay, maybe I should start selling something that people can use in their house. And that's why you can see like fitness products, their sales went up. You'll see like those medicinal, like those products, like the temperature product, those things went up. The sales went up. Look at what are the things that people started buying more, and just basically start selling those things more. And by the way, also when the pandemic happened, a lot of people that actually turned their job from real life to online, most of them succeeded. Most of them got more money because they understood. They're like, if everybody is at home now, that means everybody's scrolling on their phone. That means everybody's buying things on their phones. So if I just put myself in that opportunity, I'll win. And that's the thing. Whatever circumstances that happen on the outside, there's always an opportunity. And that's what I want you to. That's what I want you to think about. That's what I want you to know. Even if everything looks bad on the outside, there is always an opportunity. An opportunity is usually always found in the mud. It's always found in dirt. Whenever I see dirt, I'm like, there's opportunity. And when you think like that, because you're looking for it now, then you'll find it.
Some of that profit was from inflation. A lot more, though, was from what amounts to price gouging. Take a look at pretty much any company that raised their prices during the crisis, and you'll find that they also gave massive bonuses to their executives and shareholders. It's just yet more evidence of the massive levels of inequality in modern society. But it also shouldn't really be anything new if you've been paying attention. While this was a massive transfer of wealth, it still falls far behind what's coming in the near future, when a different kind of financial inequality in society gets addressed. Just take a look at what's beginning to happen to the agriculture industry. If there's one thing that nearly all of America's farmers have in common, it's their age. In 2022, the average age of a farmer from the US was a staggering 58 years old. In the 5 years before, the average age of a farmer got older, rising by a little over half a year. It means that farmers are only getting older on average, with a large proportion getting close to retirement. Agriculture is a hard industry to survive in. If you're running a small operation like most of America's farms, then it means long hours of manual labor. Whether you can make a profit or not is dependent not just on your work, but on the weather, crop harvests, and price fluctuations in the market. Even in good years, the margins are low, and they've been getting lower. It all makes farming an unattractive prospect for young people, even if they have enough money to get started in the first place. Meanwhile, lots of farmers are getting too old to operate their farms, and often they can't even afford to retire as their debts are so high, forcing lots of them to sell. Now, part of the great wealth transfer is going to involve lots of small farmers going under the hammer, with only a few new farmers to fill the vacuum. It's a crisis, and if there's anyone who knows how to take advantage, it's the corporations. While they might not be very interested in agriculture itself as an industry, they are interested in the land the farms are on. Just like any asset like property or stocks, it's ripe for speculation and financial manipulation. But owning farmland as an asset also carries lots of tax benefits. As a long-term investment, it dodges the short-term capital gains tax, which is a lot higher than the tax you get if you own something for over a year. You can even avoid the capital gains tax entirely if you sell one farm to buy another, letting corporations constantly leap from farm to farm, gaining a larger property portfolio in the process. But that's not the only benefit for wealthy investors. You can write off other losses against the cost of operating the farm, while getting access to government subsidies meant to help out smaller family-owned operations. It's a perfect storm of incentives that are turning mass corporate ownership of farmland into something unavoidable.
You know what? When I'm looking at stuff like this, I usually think those older people, right? Where do they, like the rich ones? Where do they have their money? And then when you look actually when you look at them, you realize that, well, the ones that have their money, and it's easy for me to come and maybe take this money when they die, obviously, is a farm. You look at a farmer. Most farmers, by the way, when you actually go look at them, some of them might not have kids. And if you actually just befriend a farmer and you actually become good friends with them, they would be willing to give you the farm. And that's the thing. I'm like, if those people right now, right, like the ones that are going to be dying soon, that's why there's the wealth transfer. The ones that are going to be dying soon, the rich ones are owning farms, Habibi. And if you just position yourself in a way where you're friends with one of these farmers, the old ones, you can get the farm. So that's why I'm thinking I'm like literally the best or the biggest wealth transfer that's going to be happening right now in the US, mostly in the US, or even also in Canada, or just in the West in general. It's just people with farms. Because what else are they going to have? They're going to have maybe a house. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to like take a house because most homeowners, they have children, right? They have a family. But most, like some farm owners, don't really have kids, and they don't know who to give their farm to, and their farm is very dear to them, so they wouldn't even sell it to people. They wouldn't give it to the bank, because I know farmers. I get raw milk, I get raw eggs. I'm friends with farmers. So that's the thing, Habibi. Right now, if you actually want to position yourself in a way, where you can take advantage of this wealth transfer that's going to be happening, then go out and befriend farmers. And that's why this whole thing, I feel like my friend usually tells me, he's like, bro, your raw milk is so expensive. You're getting raw milk. Why waste that money? Just go and get the normal milk. Like we're the same size, him and I. He's like, just go get, well, not the same size. That is actually bigger. He's like, just go get the normal milk. And now I feel like it's actually paying off because just you having that network of farmers and you're friends with farmers. Now at some point you'll just, like, if you're truly friends with them, you can tell them, you can set up a deal with them, be like, hey, give me half the farm, I'll pay some rent, and then once you die, you can give me the full thing. And by the way, some of them actually do that. Some of them actually will do such a deal with you. And I feel like that's crazy because owning a farm is different from owning a house. A farm is always going to be making money. A farm is productive. A house, yeah, it goes up, it goes down, but a farm can always make you money. So that's the thing. If you truly want to position yourself in a way where you can get wet from this wealth transfer that's going to be happening soon, just befriend a farmer. Go get some raw milk. Go get some raw eggs. Talk to these farmers. Some farmer actually, his name is Scott. I was talking to him. And these farmers, they're very conservative. They don't like the government. They're mostly just like me, right? So this guy is like, he just kept talking to me about how I can heal my eyesight without going to the doctor. He's like, don't go to the doctor, man. He's like, just do this exercise with the sun and take some stuff, eat more of this and more of that, and then you'll be able to heal your eyesight. He's like, I've done it. My eyes were so bad. I just started to look at the sun and started to do this and started to do that, and my eyes now it's way better, which is so interesting. So interesting. But again, Habibi, don't be putting your trust on things on the outside. Whenever I see people, they're like, "Oh man, the gas prices went up. Gas prices went up. Doesn't matter. Go make more money." Like, what the heck, bro? Like, what do you mean? You're gonna start complaining about gas prices went up again? Where are you putting your attention? Are you putting it on the problem, or are you gonna be taking this problem, give it a different meaning, a meaning that will give you more power? Gas prices went up. I'm like, okay, that's good. There's gonna be less dumb drivers on the road, or that just means, okay, now I gotta go and make more money. That's it. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, now at least you know exactly where this wealth transfer is gonna be taking place. I'm telling you right now, farms, man, farms is a big deal. So if you've enjoyed this video, just let me know.